Three weeks after two powerful earthquakes hit Turkey, the Bushark family is still grieving. Their son Osman Enes died in the massive earthquakes.
On the night of the earthquake, I was awake for the morning prayers. All my family was sleeping. When I felt the ground shaking, I woke up all my family, my wife, but suddenly the building collapsed.
Mehmet Bushark, a retired truck driver, husband, and a father of three young men, had just purchased the house he thought he would spend his golden years in with his wife Asia. But only 3 days after he moved his family into their first floor of the new apartment, the 7-story building came crashing on their heads, smashing their lives into pieces.
At first I survived. When I went outside, I saw all the buildings collapsed. I couldn't see my wife. It took hours to find her. I was able, with visiting relatives, to pull my wife from underneath the rubble.
His wife Asia was trapped under the debris, but all she could think about are her children.
The building collapsed suddenly on top of us. I was stuck inside. I called for my boys, and my youngest son replied. I asked him, "Where's your brother?" He said there's no voice from him. I told him, just pinch him. Maybe he blacked out.
Mehmet recalls calling for two of his children in the rubble. He only heard from his 15-year-old son, Amir Khan.
I asked him, "Where's your brother?" He said he's by my side. His hand is on my shoulder right now. He's protecting me, but there's no voice coming out of him.
He waited for days before his son's body was pulled out from underneath the rubble.
On the third day, heavy machinery started to arrive, and I showed them where he may be. It took so many times. Finally, we found the corpse of my big boy.
This used to be the building where Mehmet and his family lived on the night of the massive earthquake. 100 people killed that night. But the building next door to it, this one here, which turned into rubbles, no one miraculously was hurt.
Mehmet and his wife are trying to come to grips with the loss of their son. His family endured days of agony before they made it out alive, but without one of their sons. Osman Enes was born on the day of the Marmara earthquake took place 24 years ago and died on the day of the Kahramanmaraş earthquake. He's buried near his family's home.
My boy will never come back. It's really a huge pain for all of us. He was born on the day of the Marmara earthquake and he died on this earthquake. It was the same time. He was born during morning prayer and he died at the same time.
These chairs were bought to receive well-wishers for Enes's wedding this summer, but now they are used to receive mourners.
I prepared everything for his future, but he will never see it. I hope none of the mothers and fathers experience the feeling I'm going through right now.
The powerful earthquake reduced an entire neighborhood to dust. This was once an ordinary street, but last month's twin earthquake hit. Almost nothing left. Almost. This is what's left of what was once a robust, flourishing furniture store.
We are thankfully still alive. We lost family members and friends. I'm here getting some items out of my store.
Murad, an owner of what was a furniture business in his hometown Norday near Gaziantep, he's back at his store salvaging what he can.
I lost everything, but I will start from zero. I had a 500 square meter production center. My first step is to rebuild it. After that, I will open 2 new branches again.
He points to a frame hanging on the wall of his shop with the words Malik al-Mulk written on it. It means that all position in life owned by Allah. Murad is trying to salvage what he can, insisting that's not the end, but the beginning.
I want to live here. Everybody knows me and loves me. I will rise again with their support.
He now lives in a tent with his wife, 3-year-old son Adam, and 7-month daughter Selma Maria.
We feel safe here. I live outside my grandparents' house. It's hard living in a tent. It gets extremely cold at night, and we can't sleep. I keep checking the fireplace and add wood to it and check on my children.
The twin earthquakes left more than 50,000 people dead in Turkey and Syria. Tens of thousands are injured and hundreds of thousands displaced across Turkey alone. Many streets and neighborhoods turned into a cemetery. You hear the same story and same concerns. Each story is an echo of another, across a vast region devastated by two devastating tremors.
Bu binada yaşıyorduk.
I lived on the third floor. We became the first floor.
Mustafa feared the worst. He fanatically started screaming to wake his wife and two children before the building collapsed.
Rüyamda deprem olduğunu gördüm.
I hurried to my children's bedroom and took them out. I couldn't open the door outside because of the damage to it, so I went to the balcony, looked out, and my neighbors were all outside. I threw my children to my neighbors. At least maybe they will survive. After that, I jumped with my wife out of the balcony. My wife broke her arm.
Mustafa's neighbor says a Syrian young man who lived across from him didn't fare well.
My cousin and I went outside to take a look around. We saw that our returning wall collapsed. I realized that our Syrian neighbor, who's 18, was under the wall. He broke his leg. That day it was bitterly cold and rainy, and the area covered with snow. It was freezing cold. We picked him up and took him to the hospital. We learned later that he died of frostbite.
These events took their toll on people, leaving many tormented.
Psychologically, we are affected, traumatized. We still fear further earthquakes.
Here in Antakya, ruins are everywhere, as people still trying to make sense of what hit them. Victims still searching for their loved ones. This woman is looking for her fiancé, whose body is still missing. She is posting a poster with his picture and information. She's still hopeful she will find him. At this camp in Nurdai, on the outskirts of Gaziantep, one of the hardest hit areas, people are waiting in long lines for food. These children find solace in playing football, laughing without worries, reminding them of how peaceful their lives were just a few weeks ago. Even for a short moment, the hope, a glimpse of what's to come. In the shadow of a behemoth excavator, heavy construction equipment, repetitive sound all day and all night. Zainab Ushar lost 12 of her family members, including 2 of her sister's 4 children, uncles, and their families. Her sister lost her husband too.
We spend most of our time at the graveyard. We feel we are in a nightmare, but when I wake up, I'm still alive and nothing has changed. It's a difficult time for us.
She says they hope they'll stay here for a few more weeks before returning to their homes.
I'm too afraid. When anything moves, I and the kids get scared.
The rebuilding process has already begun, but the devastating earthquake in Turkey destroyed more than just buildings. It shattered lives with it too. Many of the victims say nothing will replace the void left by the loss of their loved ones. In Nurdai, Turkey, Hamad Qasem reporting for the Media Line.